I saw me a white pointer. She was about 13 meters off me starboard side.
Hey, that's the best you've ever done.
I've practiced that about 100 times,
Oh my
dude.
God, it's so yes, Mike. Oi, Mike, you're getting close there, Mike.
I'm trying so hard, man.
Yeah, because it didn't sound Indian.
That's what he said. That's what Landon said. That's the first time it's ever not sounded.
That is exactly right. It's the first time it sounded Indian.
I want you to put your hands together. There goes to the neighborhood. And welcome him to the stage. Big round of applause. There goes to the neighborhood.
All right, welcome back to a SmokeScreen podcast, episode 53, and we're talking true crime.
Yes, we are.
We found a little, I guess, a series. It's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be a seasonal thing, but so far on Netflix, it's called Heist.
Yes.
And I came across the other night looking for some cool documentary to watch. Obviously, every night I'm looking for a damn documentary because I've seen every movie in existence.
Right.
I need some new shit. So came across Heist and thought, oh, okay, cool. I like anything regarding like cool, thought out crime, not just the murder mysteries, like, you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Because true crime is a lot more than just those. I love the thought out, because there's some. I said to you, there's some respect for these criminals. There just is, for having the balls to do this stuff, and then the plan behind it.
Yes.
And
I think that's why there's so many movies made about it. It's
absolutely.
Respect almost.
It is. It really is. I mean, some of the best movies are based off heist, and you know, one of my favorite movies in this kind of realm is, I always forget the name. It's Denzel. It's a Denzel movie. He's the hostage negotiator, and Clive Owens is the guy who goes in the bank, and he comes out a month later. He builds the wall in there and stays in the bank.
Yes.
And they all get out except him, but he's in behind the fucking wall, shitting in a hole. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And walks out the front door like he said a month later. I thought that was genius.
It is.
So,
there's a lot of those like that where, you know how you've talked about, okay, when you grew up, you like Cobra. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
The bad guys.
All the bad guys, right?
Cobra, Decepticons.
Because they're slick and they're
cooler,
charming. Yeah, there's a
the Empire.
Yes,
I mean Vader.
Yep. There's something cool about somebody who's willing to risk it for this reward.
It's
live a lifestyle.
It's almost a it's like an anti. I don't know, norm type of thing where, you know, I'm supposed to grow up, go to high school, go to college, get a job, work 9 to 5 for somebody else's dream. And then by the time I have some decent money, I'm old and can't do anything. And this kind of bucks that system, the idea behind
That's
it.
the core of it
That's
in my mind too.
It.
Yep. Why I am drawn to them.
Same here.
Yep.
Because I understand that completely.
Like with Scarface. I never wanted to sell kilos and kilos of cocaine, but watching somebody, you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, there's this guy paying cash for Rolls Royce and, you know, throwing duffel bags of money around and stuff. It's all that is, there's something attractive, so you can see how people get sucked into that.
Absolutely.
And that goes with this.
Yes.
Because that girl got
the core
sucked
of it,
in. Yeah.
That's what it is. And then this guy that she's with, and by the way, this one's called
Sex, Magic, Money, Murder.
Yes, Sex, Magic, Money, Murder. So the way it's laid out is there's so far there's 3 stories on the Netflix show, 2 parts each.
Right.
So 6 episodes so far. I'm assuming they're adding more. I guess.
I would think so.
It says it's a series. So yeah, it's about 40 minutes per episode. The first one is this Sex, Murder, Magic, and that's exactly what it is. This girl essentially meets this suave dude, and this is at the core of it too. They always pick the bad boys.
That's right.
And he had been in prison for, ironically enough, killing an armed guard.
Yeah.
So he had served like 25 years and got out early from his life sentence because he was a poet and he had been rehabilitated, whatever that means. And somehow he had published these 4 books of poetry in prison.
Really did, yeah.
Which was pretty cool. That you can do, you know, that type of thing in prison. But the point being that somehow helped him get out early. They helped the parole board decide that he was, you know, a good guy.
They were saying he was like a Gandhi or something.
He's a Gandhi with no something. I forgot the quote. But so he gets out. She meets him in the club, you know, and his pickup line was, you know, do you believe in the devil? That was the pickup line. And so that was like, okay, that's interesting to this girl.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how they met. They met with this weird pickup line, and then, of course, they ended up back at his place that night and probably met the devil.
She's close to our age, too.
Yeah, she is now, yes.
Because this thing takes place, it starts in like 93.
It's 93, so the year I graduated, year after you graduated, and this all went down.
She was, I think, 20 or 21, something like that, in 93.
Yeah. Yeah, because she would have been, she said later she was like 22. So she would have been like 20, yeah.
And so, yeah, she meets the dude, and he just romances her socks off.
Oh, man.
She said, you know, she kind of came from a home where she didn't get much love, and all of a sudden, he is just laying it on her, you know?
We said that earlier about the core, like, we got these, there's several threads that kind of, there's themes throughout these stories, and one of them is just horrible step-parents, and that's what she had.
That's right.
She had a horrible stepmother.
Well,
I mean, not everybody.
her dad,
yes.
he's just like she had, you know, if Beavis and Butthead grew up and had kids or something.
Yes, that's exactly right.
He's
the dad who's letting his kids smoke weed at 6.
Yeah.
And he's considered the cool dad.
He's sitting there going, they gave me custody. Like,
of me?
Yeah.
You gave me custody of a little girl?
And then so he marries another chick who was just flat out mean to this poor girl.
Yeah. The evil stepmother.
Yeah.
And, you know, how many stories, classics are written off of that?
So many.
You know what I mean? So there's these themes that are in reality that is at the core of all these different stories that just kind of pan out differently. So,
but when they got together, he had stacks of money in his safe.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
safe he carried around with him, I believe, in the car, $30,000 and a Rolex.
And it started dwindling down.
Yes.
And he's like,
you got to get a job.
Yeah.
So at some point he moved in, I believe, her apartment.
Yeah.
Because all that stuff was there. So he had all this, like, as the FBI guy calls it, devil worship stuff. And he had these books of poetry, and they did incense and tarot cards.
Yeah, there were skulls around.
Skulls
and
bones. Bones. They did the candles. They did the weird, freaky shit where they paint each other up before they get hot and heavy, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all that real, you know, sex Wicca is what it is. He's into some kind of Wicca, essentially. But anyway, at some point he was like, of course, you got to go get a job.
Yeah.
Why don't you get a job? Hey, Loomis, was it Loomis?
Yeah, Loomis.
Loomis is hiring.
Yep.
Loomis.
Why not get a security job?
Hey, you should go into security. I think it's a great idea.
Literally get a job, the same job. I killed a dude who had that job.
Yeah, so it ends up being, she gets a job at Loomis, Armored Car Service, and he had killed an armored car guy
from
in a
Loomis.
botched robbery from Loomis. And then, of course, she didn't know all that.
No.
Like, he had told her he was a criminal.
Yep.
But not, I don't think, the details.
And
obviously.
he had this, because he had to spend so much of his time in prison, he had built up this hatred and wanted to get revenge on Loomis and stuff. Which is
like they took his life from him. And it's like, it had nothing to do with you trying to rob him and killing somebody.
Exactly.
They took, so he wanted his revenge. So she gets a job, and she says straight out they had a diversity quota. So she got hired because she had no driving experience. Like, she had barely just got her license. And I just watched that. I told you that Jason Statham movie. I forgot the name of it. I think it's loosely based off this. But he goes and gets a job inside as an inside man, kind of, sort of, in a different way. I won't spoil anything. But he has to go through these hardcore tests, driving tests, and everything. And this girl comes in, and she's like, the other guards that were with her said that she's like double footing the pedals. One on the gas, one on the brakes.
Exactly.
She's running into shit. She bumped into one of the dudes one time. She's forgetting where she's going on these routes.
Yeah.
But that's the way it's all set up. There's always a driver and 2 dudes in the back. And of course, in those days, I told James, no GPS yet.
No.
That was 2000 when that got released.
Or cell phones. They were using walkie-talkie type radios.
Yep.
And wouldn't you know it, they're in Las Vegas, and this truck rides around to casinos, filling up and emptying ATM machines, or no, filling them up.
Well, they do switch out some money. They said they get old money out, and new fresh money in. So
when they leave the Loomis place, they're loaded up.
They're loaded
with cash to go fill these up. You can imagine how busy an ATM is in Vegas. And so it couldn't have been any more perfect. And every step of the way, Chris and I kept looking at each other going, this mug's smart.
Yeah, like, these are not dumb people.
No.
By any stretch.
He's covering his bases. He's like got this laid out pretty good.
And so basically that's what happens is they don't rush into anything. It's like it develops over time. And he's like, oh, well, what's your heaviest day as far as, what day you have the most?
Mm-hmm.
And then, what kind of routes are you driving? So she starts taking notes.
Yeah.
And she just drops these dudes off in different locations, and she's always the driver. She never gets out.
Nope.
They handle the money. They go in, do the thing, come back. And so turns out that on Mondays, that Circus is the first stop right out of the gate, and this is the time where she apparently drops them off in some underground, parking deck. They have to go in with $1 million.
Yeah.
And service 6 to 8 ATM machines, and they come out the other end, and she picks them up. So this is the only stop where she lets them out and picks them up at a different location.
Yeah. And they're in there for a while.
And they took about 45 to 55 minutes is what she said on average.
And so he found it. Her boyfriend was like, that's the perfect blind spot. That's the one. So she lets them out on this day and just jets.
And she's gone.
She just goes. Oh.
And you got an hour. You got an hour before they even know you're missing.
And the crazy thing was, before they decided to do it, he even went and rented a warehouse and put signage on there that was like armored car service place.
I think it was
something like
steel
that.
reinforcement services.
Yeah.
It was some random generic front.
And it was a front for people who reinforce armored cars so that I guess anybody there who saw one pull in wouldn't suspect anything. So it was another ingenious idea because, he had to pay for that rent while they were planning it, getting it ready, and the signs to be put up.
Yeah, he spent money to make this happen. They for sure spent money to make this happen. It was well thought out.
It had to work, or they were going to have to pick some other scheme fast.
So that was essentially the plan, and we didn't get the rest of it. The rest of it kind of unfolds. You can see where it's going when you first start watching. It's like, okay, they're going to steal them. They're going to drive off. They're going to pull in this warehouse, and they're going to just jet. But it's not. They don't make it that easy. They know that he thinks well ahead about how much money it is, how heavy it is.
That's right.
And so what happens that day? They decide it's go time after all this planning and even test drives and all this kind of stuff. She leaves as she normally would. Didn't look suspicious because she's going to normally travel and pick them up at the other end of the building. She takes off and turns and goes to the warehouse. And there you've got essentially an hour, maybe 45 to an hour before they even come out the door.
Yeah.
So they are already way ahead.
And then
the warehouse closes.
When they do come out and she's not there, they're kind of just thinking she's being ditzy again.
Exactly.
So I think they waste a lot of time
They do. They gave her another 15, 20 minutes by going back through the building to the original location where they dropped her off because they said it's happened before where she gets lost because it's not just like driving around the building. It's Vegas.
Yeah.
There's all these different routes to get to the other side of this giant. It's a whole block. And if you've ever been to Vegas, you know how it is. And so it's not just a simple like drive around, the parking lot type thing. So they're going back in thinking, oh shit, she forgot to pick us up today again. It's happened before, which just it helped. Obviously, it helped her being ditzy.
It did
because they just thought it was oh shit, she forgot again, or she got lost, or she got in a wreck on her way around.
And again, it's like they can't just pick up the cell phone and call. So they have to. Once they can't get her or she doesn't show up, and they finally are starting to think, okay, she got robbed or something, she's missing. And so they have to go inside, use the phone there at the desk, I guess, at the Circus to call their headquarters, who then they release the hounds, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So, by the time the cops are out looking for this vehicle and all this stuff, they're already in the warehouse. And the cool part, the cool little twist was they're not just driving away. So they're unpacking these bags. These are big canvas bags with locks and zippers. They open them up or whatever, I guess, assuming she's got keys or they cut them, whatever.
Right.
And you got these perfect bricks of hundreds and fifties, and they got $3.1 million in the back of this van. They had taken $1 million, so this is a total of $4-something million this day.
Crazy.
And starts dumping them in all these boxes. They're packing these boxes. meanwhile, he's packing boxes with the trunk, putting them in the trunk of this car that he had ready to go in the warehouse. She's putting a disguise on.
Yeah.
And she thought it was cool. She thought, oh, well, we got to make myself look the most different. She's a brunette girl, whatever. So she thought, oh, I get a blonde wig and whatever. She's like, no. You're going to be old and can't walk, which I thought was fucking genius.
So genius.
It is genius. It's not just like, blonde hair, whatever. You're still walking, with sunglasses. It looks suspicious. You're an old lady in a wheelchair.
She looks like Golden Girls.
Yeah, it is Golden Girls.
Yeah.
It's exactly what she got. That blouse. And the
big
wig,
glasses.
The big glasses. And so they get in this car. She ducks down with this disguise on. They stop at, I guess, the 1993 equivalent of a UPS store.
Right.
And ship these boxes somewhere.
Right.
And they had obviously kept a little bit with them. Because they said they paid for some things in cash before they picked the money up. So they then go to the airport where he had got a charter jet, a private plane. And for the show, they pull up in a limo or in the car and get out, put her in a wheelchair. He rolls her to the plane on the tarmac, and she's bent, hunched over, looking down. So the lady sees her, that she's an old lady in a wheelchair. And it's like his, I guess, elderly mother.
Right.
I guess, whatever. She can assume whatever.
Yeah, he's dressed to the nines,
He's
like
dressed.
like he would be flying on a private plane.
Yeah, he's dressed. He's looking the part. They get on this plane and they fly out to, I don't know exactly where they landed.
Well,
it was out west.
They mailed the money to Miami, but
Yes.
they did a little couple detours or something.
They did. They tried to cover their tracks, so they flew
Right.
somewhere and then got on a train and went out even further east, and then doubled back and ended up in New Orleans. Then drove to Miami.
Because you got to figure, they probably kept one of those bricks,
Yes.
opened it up, kept it with them to do all this while
Right.
the rest of the money's getting shipped. It was just such a smart plan, man.
Yeah. So you get somewhere, and by the time you're there, the money's waiting on you wherever you shipped it to.
And
so he
so-
had all this set up.
So then, pretty quickly, while they're riding to that airport, she's hunched down in the car, and here's choppers.
Yeah. Here comes the ghetto birds.
And I'm like, oh my God, that would be intense, man, because those choppers are looking for you. And
that's when she said, "Damn, I'm a fugitive."
Yeah, so that was the moment right there.
Officially a fugitive.
And what I thought was really cool too is that the FBI got involved really quick, and they went to their apartment.
Yeah.
And they left things there like travel brochures and stuff to kind of throw them off, to make them think they were going to Mexico
South America.
Yeah,
Mexico,
South America.
yeah.
And I thought that was pretty smart to make it look like you're sloppy when really you're not.
Yeah,
but they do factor that in.
What bothered me though was, they left that stuff, which I think is a good idea, because they at least have to waste time with resources calling these places and faxing things and whatever they got to do. But you didn't have to even let them know that. I guess if he lived there, they didn't have time to scrub the place like Stephen Avery was able to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, why leave all the stuff to let you know that it's him? That way you almost got some freedom with being able to move around, because she's the wanted one or missing.
Yeah.
Because at this point they don't know if she's kidnapped.
They don't.
Or if it's what's going on. They're looking for the car, and the cop says specifically, I'm not really caring about the money. I'm looking for her. I think it's a kidnapping, potentially.
Yeah. Even if, like let's say you went to that apartment and you saw all the voodoo sex magic stuff there.
Voodoo what's the Chili Peppers?
Oh,
album?
the blood sugar sex magic?
Yeah, because that's exactly what was in. I was like, what does this sound familiar
It
for?
really does.
It's really close.
You want to say that every time you say it. But yeah, if you saw that and you saw that, you realize she was with this Roberto Solis guy, and you knew his past, even if you thought that they were lovers, you would probably think she was under duress. Like, he's just pretending to be her lover. He's probably killed her by now.
Yes.
I bet that. I mean,
And
I'm
it went
sure
through
that
her
crossed
mind.
their mind. Yeah.
She said when she was in the warehouse and she was changing into the clothes, because the first thing he did was pull her pistol from her belt when she got out of the van.
That's right.
And she was like, almost reality smacked her in the face. Okay, I'm here with a man of this clearly committed cold-blooded murder. He took my weapon, and he could just kill me here right now. I'm standing here in my drawers, changing clothes. He could take this money and run.
So crazy.
And boom. And so that went through her head. So immediately she had these thoughts, at least according to her. And, as far as like, because she would say in one breath, I loved him, period.
Yep.
There's nothing I wouldn't do for him. And then the next minute, she had these thoughts of like, this motherfucker's a killer, you know? So I guess reality smacks you in the face every once in a while.
It would, because you realize, wait a minute, I was on adrenaline before, kind of caught up in the euphoria of doing this. Holy shit. This is new to me, but look, this dude, he's an old pro.
He's a secret.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they end up, like you said, in Miami after all the different planes, trains, and automobiles, literally. Yep. I mean, the whole nine. And apparently, this dude brings in another girl into the relationship, and this excuse was, now this is a classic cult leader. I mean, this dude is suave, apparently.
That's right.
Classic cult leader. Brings in another woman into the relationship. She didn't really seem to have a problem with it at first, but she was jealous, she said. But it was because she couldn't leave the hotel they had set up, and the other girl could move around freely, because that was the excuse.
And then, yeah, she started picking up on, wait a minute.
Yeah.
He's too into her.
Exactly. So that was, but she was like, you know, she says at least she wasn't really, didn't mind another girl in the relationship for a while. But then it became where they were, like at one point, they went back, so they ended up traveling, right, to Europe at some point. So they were in a hotel there, she was stuck, and they went back because they still had some money there, the girl and the dude, the new girl, and left her there for like a week or two by herself, and she couldn't really move around. So that was part of like starting to get in her head about he's over there with her now, and all this kind of stuff. So, and what country was that? I forgot. They ended up in the Netherlands, Belize or something. I can't remember.
That actually popped in my head, Belize. It might be that. But, you know, there is something about, like you said, cult leaders, the charisma. And, I mean, as nerdy and ugly and everything is like the Jim Joneses and the Charles Mansons and the David Koresh's, women that are into them, you know, because of the charisma.
I have never understood the concept. We talked about this several times on all these true crime podcasts. Is these that in prison and become their girlfriends?
Yeah,
well, I don't get it. What makes you want to write a dude who's locked away forever?
Yeah, that is a trip. And marry him.
Yeah,
and then
marry him somehow, and you're never going to be able to touch him. Besides, I mean, maybe there's depending on I guess it depends on the level of security, but. Anyway, that's just a whole nother thing. It goes back to the same issues, daddy issues and step parents. I'm telling you, it really does. Anyway, so they end up in Europe, and she is getting basically this girl finally leaves actually for a while. She actually leaves for whatever reason, and so it's just kind of just them again, and like she learns, like he teaches her to shoot guns and AKs and all these, you know, assault rifles and all this kind of stuff, and they're living it up and whatever, I guess. And then another girl is brought into the picture. At this point, she's like kind of over it. In short, you know, kind of over it, and like he's obviously a playboy type of thing, and you know he basically used me, which he did completely, 100%.
Sure as hell
used
did.
her as to get the job and do the whole thing. And at some point, he is off again, and she realizes, oh, I missed my period. Oops. And ends up being pregnant. Has this child, and at this point, she's basically done with him and leaves him with the child and says, you know what, I'm out of here. Fuck all this.
Yeah. And
takes $17,000. I cannot believe this. $17,000 is all she took. I don't know if that's all he allowed her to take.
Right.
Or if she just had that with her at the time that it happened or whatever was going on. But she, out of fucking $3.1 million, she has $17,000. She gets her own place. She's still got an identity. She gets a new identity for a while when her kid's born. She happened to know a girl that he knew or something. They did passports and license, all that kind of stuff. She gets an identity for her and her kid. They live, and she's living like normal but running out of money.
Well, she starts... being a call girl. Is that what it was?
Yeah, she's running out of money paying rent, and it's just her. And he didn't care. He didn't give a damn about the kid or her, and he never saw her again. That was what's crazy. Like, never. and she started running low. So it was Amsterdam.
Yeah, it was
because
Amsterdam.
that's where it's legal.
Yeah, it was legal. She illegal. Yeah, call girl. Yep.
She decides, I can go make $1,000 in a couple hours, and becomes a call girl. And
yep.
There you go. So eventually, she's living her life and she's doing this, but the whole thing is she's always looking over her shoulder.
Yes.
And
never being able to like be herself, who she knows she is. She's got this front and this act.
And
even with her kid.
He
does not know.
He has no clue. And at this point, he's, 5, 6,
yeah,
7?
Like starting to play Little League Baseball and stuff.
Yeah, and it's, fake name, everything. And so she's like, I got to turn myself in at some point. I've got to get this off. I want him to have a normal life, which I think's noble. To think, assuming that's the real story. We're just, again, it's her side of the story. But to want her kid to have a normal life, she knows she's going to have to turn herself in and get this monkey off her back.
Right.
So she contacts a lawyer in the U.S. and says, "This is who I am. I'm trying to have a normal life for my child, and I want to turn myself in."
One reason that she's feeling all this pressure is because they keep doing these unsolved mysteries, America's Most Wanted shows and stuff.
They showed the episode part of it. Yes, unsolved mysteries.
So
awesome.
She knows, like, I need to do this on my terms because somebody's going to recognize me one day.
Yes. And that was the big thing I didn't even think about. After she contacted the lawyer, his worst nightmare was her getting caught before they got her there.
Yes.
To L.A. They had to go back to L.A. or land in L.A., to meet him or whatever. And then he was going to go with her to Las Vegas and all that kind of stuff where the crime took place. So that was the big worry, is getting her on a plane, getting her to his office. Because if she got busted on the way, she's
all bets
fugitive.
are off.
None of that matters, because his whole thing was they'll look at it like, okay, she decided to do the right thing, turn herself in for her kid. She'll also give information on the other dude, and this will minimize her sentence. And that's what a defense lawyer is supposed to do.
And like when she got there, so the smart thing I thought was she did a press conference immediately, saying,
"Yes,
I'm Heather Talltree or Tall Chief." And I've been
yes.
on the run, and I want to do the right thing,
right.
And I'm turning myself in, and they got to ask a couple questions and stuff.
Yes.
So it's kind of is like that reverse of the Stephen Avery. She gets to get her story out there,
right?
Like that the guy did, on Making a Murderer, when he clouded the jury,
yes.
By saying all that stuff at the press conference.
When he made up all the shit and said this is exactly what happened before there was even a trial. Exactly.
So she got to at least get her side out there, and she was dressed nice, looked like a normal mom and everything, and not some hardened criminal.
And that's the thing. Living over there, she had a fake British citizenship, and you had other British moms apparently in this area, and they became friends and stuff, but they always thought that they couldn't place her accent.
No.
So she had this fake accent. She apparently did too for a while, and they could never place it. But anyway, long story short, she turned herself in. She gets a couple really kind of minor charges if you think about it compared to what happened, and goes to prison for, was it 2? Just 2 years?
Something like that.
And then probably some probation. It wasn't much. It wasn't long compared to what you would think. You're looking at, she said, the lawyer said she's looking, full charges up to 20, 25 years. So she got off pretty damn light for turning herself in and probably giving information, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
And anyway, turns out that the big little twist, it was kind of interesting. I don't know why, but the girl who's doing the talk in the interview the whole time is an actress. Yeah. And you never knew it. Because they were showing all. Like, when they do the recreations. Yeah. You can see the reenactments, how clearly it's the actress taking the fake Polaroid pictures, because there's an actress that plays her throughout this thing. And we're doing a recreation, and it's pretty well done. But this girl telling the story, being interviewed, was an actress. And it was due to still investigating him and all that stuff. So they actually showed her blurred out. Yep. With a bar still over her eyes. Right. But
that confused me a little. Maybe there's something about her eyes that you would recognize even if her face was blurred.
Because they showed the press conference. This is all public record. So they showed old clips of her and the press conference with the lawyer. And then for the documentary, though, she was blurred, and she was never even in it till the last couple minutes. But it was an actress who literally read every line that she had given in the actual interview for the documentary.
And read it well.
You thought,
so convincing.
I thought it was her the whole time.
I did too. And even watching it back after
yeah,
because we were watching it back to get a couple last minor details about it,
right?
And it's still very convincing. And I was just going to say that Roberto Solis, he's never been seen again.
Never been seen again, dude. I'm telling you right now, if it wasn't for her, having a kid, this never would have been happened. They would never got caught. They didn't.
Absolutely not.
They did not get
agree.
caught. She turned herself in, and I think she'd have been living there forever till she died.
I agree.
And never had an issue. But she, obviously wanted the best for her kid. Again, according to her side of the story, and they're never going to find him if they don't find her. They got away with it. Period.
They did.
Nobody solved anything. They figured out, some stuff when they were doing the FBI people. The bulldog.
I was getting ready to say that.
The bulldog. It was so
or
funny.
Or the bloodhound, or
yeah, I think it was bulldog.
Bulldog, yeah.
Yeah, but the way
when he gets on you,
yeah.
you're done.
And then they show this little skinny frail dude with like a poodle or some shit.
That was
a
hilarious.
little Maltese dog. But yes. Anyway, she that's basically it. She ended up. It said at the end that she served her time. She's now back in society and went back into healthcare. But her whereabouts are really, they didn't tell you where she is, because even people, she said, in her life now doesn't know her past.
No.
But she wants to come clean on the documentary. So that's the real deal as far as what she's been through. So she put herself out there completely. And moral of the story: why do y'all pick the bad boys? It's always what the nice guys are too boring and stable.
They are. They are.
You got to pick the bad boy devil worshippers.
I think I've got time to turn it around.
I know. Oh shit. I guess I need to get tatted up and go commit a few crimes, and
yeah,
I don't know, maybe that'll help or something. But no, we just say, not to keep this going on forever, but at the core of these, it is really about, in so many of these things, about, having a purpose.
Yeah.
It really is.
And a place and an identity.
Yes.
And
it
being
goes
heard.
Yeah, and it goes into any modern political movement.
Gangs.
Yeah, all that stuff. It's all about, having a place that you feel like you fit in, and that place gives you a purpose, and that's what everything about in life is.
Yeah, she came from a dad who really couldn't give a shit less.
Man. He came off such a
stepmom hated her, her mom abandoned her, and what do? You cling to people who show you love and affection, and
absolutely.
And this guy just poured it on. He said all the right things, and he was just using her.
Yep, and never gave a shit about the kid or her when she said. And that's what kind of shocked me. I guess he didn't want to draw any more attention to himself, but you would think that he would not want her to leave. Like he might fucking kill her or something, which probably is why she's still anonymous to where she's at today.
So most times when you are shown love, you gravitate towards that because it feels good, and all of a sudden you're part of something. Where in this case it was a couple, but
it started off innocent enough, is what it seemed like to me. I mean, this suave dude who picked me.
And when you get in trouble as a couple, it's us against society, the world.
Yep.
We're in this together. We're in the trenches,
ride or die.
Yeah, and that does make bonds really tight.
Yep. Yeah, 'cause these are not all just dumb people. Not one bit. Not saying some ain't. I'm saying because there's some dumb criminals.
There are,
but it takes some massive cojones to damn try some shit like this.
Yeah, these aren't just your package thieves.
No. These are not Amazon porch pirates.
No, they got their shit planned out.
But anyway, I thought it was a pretty good little series, and so far I'm gonna watch the second story maybe tonight, and we might continue doing these if y'all enjoy it.
Yeah, and this one's really cool. I think we should at least knock these other two out. That would be cool.
Yeah, there's two more stories on there we could definitely cover, and I love any heist shit where there's cool plans involved. And it don't have to be just money.
There was a point she made that also is one of the same reasons I enjoy heists is it's not a small business. It's not a family you're robbing. You're taking this from a huge conglomerate, multi-million-dollar company.
That's the way she justifies it, right?
You know, so I do get that's what
I do get the point.
I don't
agree with it.
No, I'm not.
But yes, I get the point.
So like when I watch things like a Bonnie and Clyde or whatever, you know, they're almost, I don't know, they're almost like a Robin Hood type scenario, especially the Bonnie and Clyde, because, you know, there were people cheering them on. You know?
Yeah, I mean, because it's like, you know, stick it to the man type of thing.
Stick it to the man.
You know what? That $4 million ain't going to hurt Circus. But at the same time, there's still real people working there getting paid from that money that are regular people. Not rich.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get the point. I get the concept. You know,
like that's just another easy aspect for him to bring her in. It's like this isn't hurting anybody.
It's not hurting anybody. You know? But because they're not going to miss the type of thing.
Because he was much older than her. We forgot to mention that.
Oh yeah. She was 20 at the time. I guess
he'd already served tons of years in prison.
He had 4 books out.
Yeah.
4 poetry books.
Yeah,
so, he had to be 45, 40, probably close to 50.
Yeah, he was
at least.
Good bit older.
Yeah, probably more. Yeah, probably older than 50. I don't think they named his age. But anyway, we'll keep doing these. I don't know how fast they're adding these stories. I think they might have just added that. The next one is called like Money Plane. And then there's something bourbon.
The Bourbon King.
The Bourbon King, which sounds really interesting about some rare bourbon.
Yeah.
So it don't have to be just like straight cash, you know, as far as heist. But I just love heist stuff, man. I've always thought it was cool. That's why I like Casino and Ocean's 11 and all those. I love those movies, man.
Have you watched the movie The Town?
I don't think so.
What's his name from Boston that plays Batman?
Michael Keaton?
No, the newest one.
Oh, Kilmer? Oh, the newest one. The one is Christian Bale.
No. In the DC universe
Robert Patterson.
Now. No.
That is the newest one.
No, but he's we've seen on film, me and you in your living room recently, the Snyder Cut.
Oh, Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck.
I'm going through all the Batman.
Ben Affleck.
Tobey Maguire.
You know, it's about all the heists in Boston. And they're armored car heists, and evidently, like that movie, it says that's the armored car heist capital of the world. Yeah, and there's some fascinating plans in that one.
I can imagine The Wrath of Man, that movie with Jason. I was straight about just saying that's what it's about. I didn't really know going into it besides watching the trailer, but I think once you see that, you're kind of like, man, it might be loosely based off one of these stories like this one. Because this is obviously the real thing.
I couldn't do that job.
No
way I'd drive an armored car.
After you've seen some of those videos of getting shot at and stuff, what we saw on TikTok, we're talking about, no way in hell. Because around here it's a little more, as far as the technology involved, and they have GPS. They check. There's just all these protocols, and it's really actually
redundant
pretty
protocols.
Safe.
Yeah.
But in these other countries where it's, they have these services, I saw that TikTok where the guys were running down the highway and they just start getting shot at. They try to block the road. I mean, they were just going to kill them. I mean, that's just all there is to it. And they got out of it, luckily. But, there's no way in hell.
Yeah, they wouldn't hire me. That money is not worth my life. I'd be like chucking it out the back.
Do you have a fear of sharks?
Yeah.
God damn.
Will you promise to defend this money with your life?
Yeah.
Nope.
Nope. Exactly. Not for my life. Hell no. Anyway, let us know what you think. If you like these, let us know, man. And I'll keep moving more videos over from my channel, the main channel, to the podcast channel. I got to keep doing that. I've just been so busy with the book stuff that I forget about it. It's not hard to do. It just takes time. Because I got to download them, upload them, make them private, make this one private, make that one public. So it's just a lot. We've got, I got like 47 more or something, 46 more.
That's cool.
So we'll get it all moved over.
It's cool that we've done
that. And that way we got everything completely
Should have done a lot more, I know, but it's cool we've got that many in the bag.
Yeah. But we'll let us know. We'll keep doing this little series at least, and we'll try to. We talked about it a lot. We enjoy the true crime stuff. It's just
absolutely
he could do it every day. My thing is like the same kind of murder mysteries. After about 5 of them, they're kind of blurred to me. I don't know, but I haven't seen enough. So
yeah. There's such little different plans and things that happen that that's enough to keep me interested. See what's going to happen this time. Because literally, how many seasons and stuff of Forensic Files are there?
Yeah.
A lot of those crimes are very similar, and the way they investigate them is very similar. Where I know, I'm like, this is when they're going to do that.
That's one thing I do enjoy that maybe we could do a separate podcast on is like the CSI aspect.
Oh, it's awesome.
Because I love the forensic stuff, like how they break down things, and now the modern stuff is the technology's crazy. The things they think of to connect things, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That would be an interesting little thing about getting in, maybe delve into how they've, not necessarily like just the crime, but how they solved it.
Hell yeah.
That'd be cool.
I'm totally down.
Anything that makes me think, I'm down. You know what I'm saying? That's cool. But anyway, yes, I guess we'll wrap it up. We're good?
I'm good, yeah. I think that's it.
We'll watch the Money Plane next, I guess.
Absolutely.
Or Bourbon King and do that one. So anyway.
Sounds like a winner.
All right, we'll let it go for now and let it fade to black.